Mr. Chairman, I appreciate the courtesy and very much. And Administrator McCarthy, we met in my office, but we've also, even more importantly, met at the celebration with the Red Sox at the at the White House. I put a statement in the record. It speaks about the geographic programs, and it speaks about Lake Champlain and what we've been doing to try to clear that up. This is the largest body of fresh water in the United States outside of the Great Lakes and borders New York State, Vermont, and Canada. The funding for that has been cut by more than 60% over the past 4 years, just as we are undertaking a comprehensive lake restoration plan. So my question is, how can EPA better support and be involved with the work of the Lake Champlain Basin Program, which is for 20 years has convened all the federal agencies working to restore and protect Lake Champlain, and how can EPA help to make the case to support federal funding for the kind of assistance we need to do that restoration? I know we've talked with the governor and everybody else on that.
Well, Senator Leahy, first I want to thank you for your leadership on recognizing, as you do, the value of Lake Champlain and how important it is to the region and to your state in particular. And I know EPA shares your recognition of that value. We are going to be working pretty hard as a follow-up to the meeting. The concern is that we are in the process of working together on a TMDL and getting that implemented, but all of these things do carry some cost associated with it. So we're working with our own EPA offices to look at how we can be more supportive, as well as look across at other agencies in the programs and the federal funding that's available. But we will be following up with you, and we'll do everything we can to make sure that we can work with you to restore Lake Champlain and maintain its beauty and resilience and the economic vitality it brings to your region.
Well, we have, it's been authorized at $11 million per year. The need's never been greater than what it's going to be in 2016. And
yes,
I would hope the EPA would support a larger funding request for the Lake Champlain Geographic Program in 2016. We absolutely need it. It's one of these things we do not ever want to get into the position, for example, that Lake Erie did decades ago, where they have much of the same headwaters and nature in their lake. It became so polluted that one of its tributaries, the Cuyahoga River, caught fire. Here's a river on fire for a couple of days before they could put it out. We're at a point with a beautiful, pristine lake where we can keep it that way, but it's going to take some real efforts. So please work with us to request more money for that area.
we're happy to work with you, Senator.
You know, in 2011, we had a catastrophic flood in Vermont. That dumped nearly as many tons of polluted sediments into Lake Champlain in a matter of hours that we normally would see in a year or more. So I might ask, how would the proposed investments in your budget request to achieve climate resilience support our work in protecting Lake Champlain, particularly since EPA has mandated the new TMDL will be one of the first in the nation required to account for climate change impacts?
Yeah. Well, our work on resilience is multifaceted, and it's across the administration. Very directly, I know that the good folks in Vermont have been very closely working with the states that were experienced the damage from Hurricane Sandy. They've been helping to advise us on how to respond to those challenges as well as prevent them in the future. We have funds set aside to work with a number of communities, not only to look at resilience, but how that relates to green infrastructure and our opportunity to look at our wastewater and water quality challenges and our stormwater challenges differently. We also have a National Resilience Task Force that the President has pulled together. And that's an opportunity to learn from across the country about the efforts that are underway to adapt to a changing climate. Each of the agencies, including EPA, has also developed their own adaptation plan, so that while Vermont may be first, you're not going to be the last. We're going to look at actually how SRF funds can be better informed by the changing climate that we see. So there are a number of efforts underway, Senator, and we're very serious about working with communities to see how we can help them stay safe
A lot of these
in a
efforts,
changing
a
climate.
lot of these efforts cost money. The EPA budget seems to be more and more bare bones requests each year. For example, the grants to states for the Clean Water State Revolving Fund have been cut by $431 million. The Drinking Water State Revolving Fund geographic programs cuts that by 14.6. A little state like ours, that clobbers us.
Yeah. It's very difficult, Senator. There are some difficult decisions that have to be made. I think we can all agree that the SRF fund is one of the most important to maintain health protections for our communities. We've done, I think, a good job over the past 5 years to really provide significant resources for these efforts. We again did the best job that we could in 2015 proposal to continue with that, and to also recognize that the states have significant money available to them from the state already existing state revolving funds, and we're hoping that the money that the states have available on this will be sufficient to continue to maintain progress moving forward.
We'll keep working on this, and I
We will.
appreciate your willingness to keep talking with us, but we do have a very critical moment in our state. And, Mr. Chairman, thank you very, very much for your courtesy.